I want to talk about KD for a second. I'm essentially going to give my five. I think a list. You know, if we are believing the reports that are coming out, I think KD gave a list, maybe 4 or 5 teams that he's willing to go to if traded. And I say if because you never know, but there's a huge belief that KD will be traded from the Suns this offseason. That's essentially the only moves that the Suns can make. I mean, they can't really trade Bradley Beal because he has a no trade clause. Shout out to the Wizards for that, but and I don't. They're not trying to trade Devin Booker, so the only way you can really get off try to save your future is get off of Kevin Durant. Now, I want to talk about Kevin Durant because you're hearing the question has been what's Kevin Durant's legacy after that's not the question. Has Kevin Durant's career been a failure uh, after Golden State? And I think it's a two-part answer. If we're talking about individual, no. Kevin Durant was the best player on a Brooklyn Nets team that essentially he could have made it to an NBA Finals if you know essentially James Harden didn't go down with a hamstring injury and Kyrie Irving didn't go down with an ankle injury. And he's been uber consistent when we talk about the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant, it goes without saying, Kevin Durant is undoubtedly one of the greatest scorers the league has ever seen. You would be hard. I can't name you 5 scores better in the history of the league than Kevin Durant. To be completely honest with you, it's very hard for me to name 3. And there are a lot of people that's questioning, is Kevin Durant a winning player? And I know it's easy to look at, okay, well, he only won a championship with Golden State, 2 of them. He also won 2 Finals MVPs, meaning that in both of those finals, he was the best player. But he didn't win when he was in OKC. He didn't win when he was in Brooklyn. He didn't win when he was in Phoenix. Understandable. But it's when we talk about these type of players and when we talk about, legacies and accolades, we never discuss the entire team. Now, I understand when you're a superstar, when you're on that level, you're expected to overcome anything. When you see LeBron James, I think, make it to 8 straight finals, like you're expected to overcome a lot. You're expected to overcome anything because you're a superstar, because you're just on that caliber. But, you don't look at the fact that, again, you go to a Brooklyn Nets team that was a big toe away from essentially beating the eventual NBA champions that year in the Milwaukee Bucks without Kyrie Irving and a James Harden on one hamstring. Then, okay, next year you get swept by the Boston Celtics, but James Harden leaves, and Kyrie Irving just plays horrible. Then you go to Phoenix, and you have to go through probably one of the worst built teams. Like worst ways to build a team ever. And even in that, I think you damn near you put up a fight against the eventual champions and the Denver Nuggets, and the next year you get swept. Because again, the way that they're building a team just isn't smart. Again, it's a two-part answer. If we're talking about individual players, no, Kevin Durant has, even at his age, yeah, he may have slowed down a little bit, but he's still one of them. Kevin Durant is still one of the best offensive players in the league today. I can't name you 5 players I would trust offensively over Kevin Durant today, even at his age. But if we talk about team, if we talk about the team aspect, then yeah, Kevin Durant hasn't succeeded. He's been swept twice. He hasn't made it to a conference finals, if I'm not mistaken, since being with Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Now, it is incredibly difficult to do that, but still. But back to the original point, I want to give my top 5 destinations. Now, it's easy because there are some honorable mentions, and like for instance, an honorable mention I would say is the Golden State Warriors. You've been there, you're familiar. They are in desperate need of a second go-to scorer, and you've already had success. Now, I don't know if that makes them necessarily a championship team because I think Jonathan Kuminga will have to be in it, and they definitely still need a big man. But I think him going to Golden State, especially when you see how good Steph Curry played last year, and you probably wouldn't have to give up Jimmy Butler. And even if you did have to give up Jimmy Butler, that probably means that you would not have to give up Jonathan Kuminga. I think that would be a really good fit. Now, I understand how everything ended, and Kevin Durant probably doesn't want to rehash that. Cool, which is why it's an honorable mention. But I think that Kevin Durant would fit very well in Golden State. I also think an honorable mention would be the Dallas Mavericks. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with the number 1 overall pick. If they trade it, if they don't, all signs looks like they're going to draft somebody. But I think that Kevin Durant, alongside Kyrie Irving again, alongside Klay Thompson again, alongside Anthony Davis, and possibly Cooper Flag, who knows, I think that would be an incredible team. If we talk about super teams, yes, injuries would play a huge part because Kyrie Irving, he's not going to be there for, the beginning of the year, and then we'll see what happens with Anthony Davis. Obviously, KD. Injuries could play a huge part, but when fully healthy, a team that is trotting out Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, and probably like a Cooper Flag at the 3, like, come on, bro. That is tough. That is tough. And another honorable mention, and I think, honestly, if it wasn't for the optics, this would be the best pick. It would be the Oklahoma City Thunder. They don't really have to give up many players because they have all those damn draft picks, and the Phoenix Suns don't have any. Like, I don't think they have a first-round pick to, like, 2030. So you give up a bunch of draft picks for Kevin Durant, and I don't know how the contract situation would be, but you put him on a team with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, Alex Caruso, like that would be, and you already see there, like I said, the optics, which is why I don't think it's anywhere. That's probably not happening at all. I mean, this would be you would be going to a team that could have essentially just won an NBA Finals, let alone just went, which was kind of what we saw with when he went to the Golden State Warriors and how much vitriol he got. Now, it could be a little different because you're going back to Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that drafted you. Well, they Supersonics drafted you, but a team that you kind of started your career with. But, the optics of, Kevin Durant's going to another team that just went to the championship, But these are my top 5. I just gave my honorable mentions. These are my top 5 destinations for Kevin Durant. Number 5, I'm gonna go from 5 to 1. Number 5, I have the Miami Heat. Look, I have been very loud and vocal when it comes to the quote unquote Heat culture and how I really don't think there is one. And the reason why I have them at number 5 is because this is one of the few places where if Kevin Durant goes to, I don't think makes the team that much better. Not because of Kevin Durant, but because of everything that you're going to have to give up. And on top of that, who is your running mate is Tyler Hero. You may have to give up Andrew Wiggins. I don't know because of the contract and Bam Adebayo. That is not a championship core right there. And you're probably going to have to give up someone like Jaime Jaquez. Like, I just don't think the team. Yeah, you'll have the star. Yeah, you'll have Kevin Durant. But I don't think the team is good enough to compete even with Kevin Durant. Yes, Kevin Durant makes them much better. But for all the stuff that you're going to have to give up, and on top of that, contrary to popular belief, it's been very difficult for the Miami Heat to get free agents. So who's gonna A, want to come to the team, and B, who can you afford after having to pay Kevin Durant's contract? So I know the Heat have been spiraling around as one of the teams, but I think he makes them better, but not that much better. Again, the team just got swept in the playoffs. Like, nah. But I have the Heat at number 5. At number 4, I have the Knicks. Now, I have the Knicks because they don't have a coach. And it doesn't – they may have to give I saw the trade package where they would be able to keep someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, but they would have to give up someone like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Okay. But then I also saw one where they're able to keep OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. They just have to trade Karl-Anthony Towns. So either way, shape, or form, I think Kevin Durant would be a cool fit there because as we saw in the playoffs, actually, to be honest with you, the biggest issue when it came to the New York Knicks is their consistency when it comes to the others, quote unquote, the Mikal Bridges, the OG Anunobys, the Josh Hart. Yes, they're cool defensively, but they could not keep up offensively. Offensively, they were, Jalen Brunson didn't have it going. Karl-Anthony Towns didn't have it going. They didn't have anyone. So it's kind of like addition from subtraction and attraction. It's like the best of, I don't know. What am I trying to say? It's like give and take. You're getting a great offensive weapon, but you're also getting yet another person that needs the ball, like a Karl-Anthony Towns, like a Jalen Brunson, and someone that necessarily doesn't fill your biggest need. They need a consistent big man that can play defense, and they need a probably consistent second scorer. Kevin Durant fits a couple of those boxes, but he doesn't fit all of them on top of whatever you're going to have to lose to get Kevin Durant. And honestly, the number one thing, they do not have a coach right now. So I have the Knicks at number 4. At number 3, I have the San Antonio Spurs. Just imagining a team that has Stephon Castle, Kevin Durant, and Victor Wembanyama is crazy. Now, that's insane. I don't think that's going to make them a title contender. I think that they're going to be definitely a playoff contender because, they didn't make the playoffs this year, but Victor Wembanyama was out most of the season with the whole blood clot situation. Kevin Durant. Now, we're gonna have to see what happens with Chris Paul. But they're But you also, you're probably gonna have to give up Devin Vesely. The reason why I have them 3 is because I don't think this makes them a title contender as much as I do for 2 and 1. And wonder what that team. That is going to be a scary team. You have three essentially rookie of the years. You have a two-time Finals MVP, a one-time league MVP. Yeah, that'd be tough. I just don't. Again, it goes back who's going to play point guard, who's going like, but still. Kevin Durant on the Spurs for number 3. And number 2, I have the Houston Rockets. We saw in the playoffs against the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets' biggest issue was they could not score in the half court. They were incredible at getting out in the run and getting steals, and they were incredible defensively. Any team that Ime Udoka is coaching is going to be good defensively. But they could not keep up scoring-wise with Golden State in the half court. The issue, or that issue, would be alleviated if you have Kevin Durant. Now, the reason why I have them 2 and not 1 is because all that you're probably going to have to give up. You're going to have to give up a lot. You're probably going to have to give up Jalen Green. Probably going to have to give up Tari Eason. Even though Tari Eason didn't play as much as I thought he would play against Golden State, you may probably have to give up someone like a Dylan Brooks or something. But you're able to keep, Fred VanVleet. You're able to keep Alfred Şengün. Like, your biggest issue that you just, that essentially is the biggest reason why you didn't advance in the playoffs is going to be, is going to be answered. You're going to be able to have that scoring option. And if the Rockets are able to keep up defensively, they can be a title contender. They can. I think Houston has all the with Kevin Durant, that would be crazy. Because you still have Amen Thompson playing. Like, it's going to be a good team, and you'll have to figure out what you do with Steven Adams. But I think number 2, Houston would be a great one, and number 1, Minnesota Timberwolves. You pair Kevin Durant with Anthony Edwards, a pairing that we've already seen has been successful, albeit in the playoffs. Albeit in Team USA, but we saw that was successful. You're probably going to have to give up Julius Randle, but you have Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Jaden Daniels, maybe Naz Reid. That to me, you're going to a team that just a year ago was in the Western Conference Finals. In fact, just was in the Western Conference Finals this year for 2 consecutive years. So, and you add Kevin Durant to that team, yes, you'll probably have to give up Julius Randle, but you replace Julius Randle for Kevin Durant. A team that had a historically bad run shooting threes in the playoffs is about to get one of the greatest shooters of all time. Yeah, I think that Kevin Durant, his impact is still one that can bring a title to a team. I know that reputation has kind of been tarnished in a sense because of what happened in Brooklyn, because of what happened with the Suns. But I would argue that wasn't necessarily the thing that Kevin Durant did that I don't agree with is make that decision. That's it. I understand it. Like, you would think, well, I see he thought that there wasn't that big of a drop off between a Steph Curry and a Kyrie Irving, which on paper there's not, but you're not looking at the totality of the organization. You're going to, at least for the past, few years, a stable organization in the Golden State Warriors to a unstable organization in the Brooklyn Nets. Then you go to yet another unstable organization, and if you don't believe that the Suns are unstable, look how many coaches Devin Booker's had. You go to that situation. But I understand. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to be playing alongside Devin Booker. But I do think Kevin Durant is still good enough to be that championship caliber player. So my top 5 destinations: number 5, the Heat; number 4, the Knicks; number 3, the Spurs; number 2, the Houston Rockets; and number 1, the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see what happens, but I think that it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Kevin Durant is about to be out of here. It's almost unfeasible for the Phoenix Suns to keep Kevin Durant in this roster intact, and their future is already very bleak. It's almost impossible to see a future with him still on this team. So we'll see. But those are my destinations.
Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.